What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Dubkast. This is episode 26. How's everybody's week been going? We are at an interesting point where a lot of these anticipated games that we've been waiting on are finally, yes, I'm saying finally, coming out. If you guys are with us here on today's episode, you know that one of the biggest games that has come out, or at least was anticipated for years, was Elden Ring. Well, the time has come. So we're excited to dive in and check that game out and let you guys know our thoughts on it. It's still fairly new, but I've been hearing buzz all over. So before we dive into this week's episode, I want to say hi, welcome. If you're new to the show, I am your host, Trent, otherwise known as Dirty Assault, and I'm joined by my co-host, Jeremy.
Toxic Jedi, baby.
So one of the things I noticed is whenever you do that, for some reason your mic never picks it up. So there's like this awkward pause. But for those of you that can't hear it, because I'm going to tell you right now, I couldn't even hear it.
The
Watching
DJ noise.
Yeah, but yeah, you hit the DJ noise, and I know nobody was able to hear it. Maybe this is a perfect opportunity for a clip, but
Yeah, we're gonna have to add something. Like,
there we go. Yes. DJ Scratch. What? Yeah. J Rock, otherwise known as Toxic Jedi. So, the biggest thing about me and Jeremy is that we've played so many games together over the years. I was actually sitting down talking with somebody over this last couple weeks, and he asked me how long I had known you. 12, 13 years seems like so long, but yet kind of a short amount of time when you really look at it. But me and Jeremy, just as a quick little backstory, got into video gaming at the height of Modern Warfare 2. I don't think we were quite into Modern Warfare because that might have been the tail end of okay, I'm sorry if I date us here, but the tail end of middle school for us. So I think Modern Warfare 2 was that freshman year of high school, really the pinnacle of gaming in terms of where the tone was set for online multiplayers going forward, especially first person shooters, right?
Yeah.
And so that kind of started our journey of gaming together and kind of started our passion. But one of the things that also drove that passion was single player story based games, or co-op story based games rather, where there's a lot of them that you got me into, or I may have gotten you into, where I may have piqued your interest, whatever the case may be. It's one of those things that I look forward to games like Elden Ring to come out, because I look back at times where me and you played Bloodborne. When we first got into Bloodborne, it was one of those games that I was kind of familiar with Dark Souls, but I had never really understood the driving force on a game that could make you so angry. And Bloodborne was one of those games. It was a game that I gave a lot of attention to when it came out. It was a game that was free for PlayStation for a short period of time, which is why I downloaded it in the first place. But getting into that game, I spent so much time trying to get past the entry level that I just gave up. I uninstalled, and then I found a group of people that were interested in playing together. That group of people, obviously you, and we had a friend, Cody, that also played that game with us. I believe Bloodborne was 3 players.
Yeah, we ran it as a trio.
Yeah, so definitely a challenge, but one that when you have a group of people, it kind of mitigates some of the daunting, unrelenting, just
demon on a bridge.
it took away some of that focus, so it wasn't just on one person, and you're able to kind of fight through these games. But it's so rewarding to go through that kind of experience together. So for those of you that are familiar with Bloodborne, or Dark Souls, or Sekiro, Shadows Die Twice, or the plethora of these style of games, a lot of you have probably been excited for Elden Ring. Now, Now, I'm going to be honest with you. Elden Ring's a game that Jeremy is currently downloading right now. I currently do not have, but I have every intentions of getting my hands on it. But it's one of those games that I'm so excited to actually show what that experience is going to be like. So for anybody that is maybe not particularly into that style of gaming, or they are curious and might want to check it out, go check out Toxic Jedi, or you guys can go follow me, Dirty Assault 19. Our gamer tags, I set them up. There we go. There we go. Yeah.
Oh, you sure
Your right hand? Yeah, right here. Yeah. So
my right hand.
Your left hand. Sorry.
I'm just kidding. It's my right.
I was gonna say, you guys are going to be able to see those gamer tags. You guys can go check out our streaming whenever we have those up, and you can experience that with us. But by all means, there's got a lot, and I mean a lot of people are going to be streaming this game, because Jeremy, prior to this recording starting, you were just telling me how some of the reviews are already crazy high right now. What did you say you had heard?
Metacritic rated it a 98 out of 100, which is the highest scoring game has ever crossed Metacritic.
That's insane. And it's saying a lot, but whenever you judge a game like this, let's sit here and try to think of criterias that are important, right? When I think about a story-based game, one of the things I think about is, well, the storyline. Is this going to be something that is going to pull me in? Is it going to have enough depth to it to where I feel fulfilled at the end of my journey, right? Well, they have that covered because George R.R. Martin teamed up with the studio in order to create the story for this game. So you know some of George R.R. Martin's work. You know that he has a knack for creating these expansive storylines, and what better game than one like this that is going to have every twist and turn you can probably think of, especially reading some of these reviews. I've had IGN's review up, and one of the biggest things when we're talking about stories is the first article I had come across said, I never once felt the open world fatigue that usually sets in when my brain gets overloaded by a map. One of the biggest things I think that I can attest to, and Jeremy, you probably can too, is games like Assassin's Creed are so story rich to a fault, right? There can almost be too much, and maybe this is my own, well, this is definitely my own opinion, my own bias here, but to a fault, to where it's just too much, and eventually you just get burnt out. And that is exactly the reason I think I've kind of fell out of love with Assassin's Creed games, and why I don't really buy them anymore. The last one I bought was Odyssey, and I was extremely excited. Beautiful game, great storyline, but I got burnt out because, like, after spending hours upon hours playing it, it just felt like there was so much to do, so many quests that I hadn't completed. I eventually got burnt out and wanted to play something else. So it's good to know that fatigue, and this is somebody that, let me scroll up here, spent 87 hours playing this game.
How?
Yeah.
Well, it came out today. Well, maybe early.
IGN, I'm sure that they were able to get early access so they could talk about it. And I would almost guarantee that's probably what it was.
So are they saying that they did get the same fatigue, or no?
No, they didn't. They didn't. So real quick, I can give you guys a little bit of a rundown. It said, it was actually kind of refreshing in an open world as vast as this one. It was always exciting to see a familiar face pop up again later, and I was eager to learn about what brought them to this new part of the world and how their journey had progressed. The trade-off, of course, is that without any markers, quest log, or journal, it becomes very easy to forget about certain plot threads and accidentally leave them unresolved by the end. That's a bummer, and I've already felt regret at missing out on stories that some of my colleagues have had. But for me, it was worth it because even after 87 hours, I never once felt the open world fatigue that usually set in when my brain gets overloaded by a map's absolutely full of unresolved side quest markers. Besides, any missed quest gives me the extra incentive to continue onto a new game. And that's exactly what I said. You know, that's the biggest problem I've had with games like Assassin's Creed, or just those games that really give you too much. I would venture to say you can get that way with Fallout, but Fallout has a kind of a good way to, hey, bring you back in. But Fallout, it was one of those games that had its moments where, there's so many different storylines, right, that you can go
Yeah.
on. But to the point where I think Fallout did it better is once you pick that storyline, it's like, yo, dude, no, you're on this side now. You chose your path. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Skyrim, another huge open world game, right? Another one that can get side quest heavy if you aren't careful. And it's partially the reason why I have always tried to like streamline games like that where I don't get so focused, and then maybe on a second playthrough I'll check out some of the other side quests. But this is by the way, I want to give full credit. This is the article by Mitchell Saltzman at IGN, obviously being a big company, just one that I always love to read their reviews and see what they say. But guys, there's so many reviews out there. The Verge, Hard Drive, Polygon, NPR, all Tom's Guide. There's a lot of them out there.
Yeah.
That you can look at. But when it comes down to it, and sorry to get, I want Jeremy's opinion on this too. Sometimes I can get, a little bit off on tangents here. But the thing about this game is it is beautiful. Beautiful.
Oh, yeah.
Beautiful.
I'm excited to put it on Ultra.
Yeah. Yeah. Like it may be one of those things where I might ask to sneak on over and check out a little bit of the game just because I want to see it. But this is it's a game that you can tell they spent the time on the graphics. The bosses, the things that you're going to run into all have a very unique look to them.
Mm-hmm.
And I love it. But circling this back around to what we were talking about in terms of what you look for in an open world game, to me that was the one thing looking at reviews for this game that stood out to me was that fatigue, because it's a big reason why I never pulled the trigger on New World. New World was full of so much time consuming things that it just didn't pull me in. I didn't want to pull the trigger, and I didn't want to dive into that game as much as I knew people were going to love it. It just was one of those games that I knew I would get burnt. I knew I would get burnt out on it. But Jeremy, what's some of the things that you're kind of excited for downloading this game, sitting there watching that bar?
Do you see me looking over at it?
Yeah, like, come on, dude, 87%.
Dude, I'm at 92, bro. We might have to cut this thing short.
Yeah, it's ticking. So what are some of the things that you're excited for, man? I mean, I know you, and you're probably going to go MIA for a little bit trying to knock this game out. But is there some big like points about this game that kind of have stuck out to you?
100%, dude. The number one thing I'm going to look for, and just like any other Dark Souls game, is that soundtrack.
Dude, that is actually a really good point that I think many people don't take into consideration as much.
Yeah.
That's really good point. I never would have thought about that.
Think about like going into a boss fight and it's just pure quiet, just you getting your ass beat. Now picture a boss fight, you walk in, you're getting your ass beat, but there's like orchestra in the back and just like heavy drums. Like, dude, like
you're like, dun, 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 dun. Yeah, I feel it.
When my girlfriend at the time, now my wife, when we first started dating, her first gift to me was actually Dark Souls 3. And she got me like the collector's edition, came with like the music track, the guidebook, all kinds of different stuff. And man, I remember still to this day, like popping in that soundtrack CD in like the truck. Yep.
Sorry, guys. I for those of you that don't know what I just did, I turned around for so long, and Jeremy probably thought I was like ignoring him, but I'm holding in my hand Dark Souls 3, which by the way I never beat, but it was a game in which Jeremy like convinced me after we beat Bloodborne that we needed to play, and I think we played probably 17 minutes of it. But continue.
Hey,
Sorry.
you can't beat the first boss, dude. That's on you.
Call me out. Don't you dare call me out on podcast.
This dude can't beat Gunder, guys. He can't beat Gunder.
I'm glaring, dude.
Which actually brings me to another thing. I'm terrified to see what the first boss to walk into this game is.
Yeah, right. I haven't watched anything. I'm not going to ruin it for myself. I want to experience that kind of firsthand. I'm like sitting here thinking like so many, like the way that this game is, it's almost like a movie is how it feels. And I could almost see us just like, you know, beer in hand, mixed drink in hand, whatever. And we're like, oh shit. You know what I mean? Just getting excited for these moments. I'm excited, dude. I really am, because I know that you're going to get a head start on this game, and it bums me out, but I can't hold you back. But I just know that once we can team up and get a squad together, is this going to be a trios game?
Yeah, I think it even goes up to 4.
I would like 4, because I could see like me, you, maybe even talking to Tyler and seeing if he wants to.
I tried. He doesn't want it.
He don't?
No, he doesn't want the smoke.
See, he bought New World, so I thought he would be into this one.
I think New World might have been like the farthest stretch that he's like come off of like a first person shooter.
Well, we know we're going to be able to get Cody for sure.
Yeah, he's already on it.
Yeah. Oh, I bet. And then, you know, whatever. We'll get our little crew together. But yeah, I want to go back on that point that you're making about the soundtrack, because when you think about how important the soundtrack is, how important like setting the mood is, Skyrim. That is a game that I always go back to, because like the soundtrack was such a statement piece. Yeah. Like you're like
yeah, like the title screen.
Yeah, you know that it really set you in that world. So I'm excited to hear what this one is.
Yep. Pull it up. YouTube that real fast.
What's that?
Elden Ring soundtrack.
Yeah, I know. I wonder what they're gonna have.
Well, like, so we know it's like medieval.
Mm-hmm.
So it's gonna be like, you know, like a orchestra and a whole gang of dudes.
I scrolled a little bit further, and it says this is the quote from the dude's article. It's constantly exciting, rewarding, and full of moments that made me go, holy shit. That's fair. That's literally a quote from the article. Shit.
Yeah. Well, dude, I saw one of the bosses. So I feel like they took like so much influence, man. Because I've heard it like compared to Breath of the Wild so many times,
dude. And in this sorry to cut you off, in this article they compare it to Breath of the Wild, right, and Shadows Die Twice a little bit too. But maybe not Shadows Die Twice. Maybe that's just a side article.
Yeah. If it is, I'm about to get my ass beat because I sucked at Shakiro. Yeah. But no, dude. So Breath of the Wild, beautiful game, like perfect open world. By the way, Elden Ring just finished. Perfect, dude. And I saw one of the bosses on Elden Ring, or maybe not even a boss. They didn't really go into detail, but you guys were like jousting. Like he was horseback, you were horseback, and then it just shows him just boom, and then it cuts out right there.
Oh shit.
And I was like, man, because there's a part in like Legend of Zelda, I actually think it was like Twilight Princess that did it, and it was like the fight for the bridge.
Yeah,
dude, if they do stuff like that, I'm instant fanboy.
Well, you know, look at look at this real quick. This is just what, so Polygon is another place that has done like reviews on this game. Um Elden Ring is From Software's best, most approachable and difficult game yet. And it's like, what is this game going to provide me? What is this game going to be like? Do you need to see this? Is that going to help you decide? Because that is literally the
Oh no.
like, yeah, that's what they have for their art, the picture for the headline of their article, and I'm just like, what?
Oh
Oh,
yeah, I did see that fight.
yeah, it insane.
Yeah, no, dude, this game's gonna be top tier, guaranteed. And the only people that aren't gonna like it are not into dungeon crawlers, which is totally cool.
It's its
But
own genre. I mean,
yeah,
it's never going to please everybody, right? We
right.
always bring that up, the fact that there's going to be naysayers. It would be crazy if there weren't. There's going to be things that are different from the Dark Soul games that they wish they would have implemented more of, but that's all about these games, is being different and trying to find new ways to make it challenging. Because even a game, like, you think about how there's blueprints for a dungeon, like, quite
Mm,
honestly, like a medieval dungeon crawler. But
yeah,
think about the people that had to like take that and make it their own thing, like Star Wars, for instance, right?
yeah,
That was a Dark Souls like game, and what was that one? Star Wars Fallen Order.
yeah. Fallen Order,
Yeah, that was
excellent game.
excellent game, beautiful game too, but they took what they did in Dark Souls like games and made it their own thing.
Yeah,
Because I mean, Bloodborne, not really medieval setting, but like
it was like
a
a gothic.
like steampunk type. Maybe steampunk isn't the best description, but
Yeah, I would say like Victorian. Like it
yeah,
wasn't medieval, it was Victorian.
you had that like Plague Doctor feel.
Yeah, that
Well, yeah, Victorian would be good because I mean it's like almost vampires and werewolf kind of vibes.
yeah, like in his fresh blunderbusses, all that stuff.
Yeah. Well, cool. That's I think the gonna be the driving force when it comes to when they're so similar, is how they, like, I'm curious to see like movement style, how that's gonna be similar or different from some of these other games. And I'm also curious, are they gonna have like the fireplaces or whatnot to save at, like how those are gonna be set up?
Yeah, like a fire pit.
Yeah, because
Hmm.
even though like those Dark Soul games and Bloodborne were open, like kind of open world, they still kind of steered you in a direction.
Yeah, well, so that's kind of like the definition in itself. It was like a dungeon crawler. So you had
Yeah.
like a set map. And even though the map you could go anywhere, but it was really set.
Mm-hmm.
This is dead ass the world.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
you just kind of like show up, you're like, oh shit, there's a dragon there.
Yeah. So, we got a couple other things to talk about. I hope I'm not cutting this too short, but if there's anything else you got to want to say about Elden Ring, I know we haven't gone into it too much, but I'm 100% down to dive into it a little bit more as the weeks go on,
Yeah.
especially with us. I'd even be down to, it was weird, even have like conversations with you guys live, maybe, on our Facebook page. These are all things I want to kind of
Yeah.
go into and check out, but because I want to know your guys' feedback too, how you guys are enjoying the game, and what you think is good, what you think is bad, how it compares, how it differs from games that you've played and enjoyed. So, Elden Ring, I think, is going to probably set the tone for 2022 when it comes to game of the year. That's my foreseeable prediction.
It's already been nominated. Day
And we're
one,
and
it's already
day
been
one,
nominated.
and we're in February.
Yeah.
But that goes, that is a huge reason why, and I'm not going to go on a tangent. I know you guys know I love to do this. That, I think, is when you can really learn to love and appreciate the beginning, middle stages, whatever you want to call it, of studios like this. Because From Software's ability to make a game like Breath of the Wild, right?
No, they didn't make Breath of the
Or
Wild.
not Breath of the Wild. Let me pull that up
Dark
again.
Souls.
Was it Dark Souls?
From Software, I believe, made all the Dark Souls, and they made Shikiro Shadow Dies Twice and all that stuff.
Yeah, I don't know where I was going with that. I seen let me pull it up again. It was the review from Polygon that I was trying to look at about it. Okay, yeah. Excuse me. From what they said, so I'm not messing up the quote. From comparisons to game like Legends of Zelda, that calling the early Zelda games monumental works. But it's not hard to see the Zelda series influence, particularly the groundbreaking open world adventure, The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild, on his company From Software's new game, Elden Ring. So, Demon Souls and Dark Souls game director Miyazaki, sorry, I don't want to mess that up, has not taken comparisons of those games. So that's let me say the full quote. I'm sorry if I'm So Miyazaki said that he has not taken comparisons of those games, the Legend of Zelda series, with much joy. I feel deeply unworthy of the comparison, Miyazaki said, calling the early Zelda games monumental works. It is hard not to see the Zelda series influence, particularly the groundbreaking open world adventure, The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild, on his company's From Software new game, Elden Ring. So what I was just trying to say, basically, is From Software's ability to make these games, it really makes people fans of these companies and what they do. I'm sure that I've confused you and you're wondering where I'm going with this, but what I'm basically just trying to say is, Jeremy, if the company that let me look this up, because I don't want to butcher and I want to give full credit to this company. So if Iron Gate, right, the developer of Valheim, comes out with another game, because we loved Valheim so much, I'm willing to give those guys a shot. What other game are you coming out with? And all I'm trying to say is, when there's games like Elden Ring out here that get released and they do so good, a lot of it comes from that love and devotion to those developers that put time into the games like Dark Souls.
Yeah.
And so it's really cool to see how he even, Miyazaki was saying that with games like Breath of the Wild, he doesn't even want comparisons to that. Like, I respect them as their own unique and monumental entity.
Yeah.
And
which is a big deal. I mean,
yeah. So, and sorry, I butchered that up in the beginning, but that's what I'm trying to say. Does that make sense? Like, all I'm trying to say is that with day one releasing, people already saying, yeah, this is a work of art. This is what we expected, and they delivered.
To be honest, in the common age that we are now, you pay $60 for a quarter finished game. So yeah, of course, any game that comes out that's actually done is going to be like, holy shit, this is insane.
Yeah. Well, and it's sad that we've gotten to that point, but that's a conversation we've had many a times, and but one that, in its own right, that's true.
Yeah, I'm just super grateful that there's a company out there that was like, no, we're gonna do this right. We're gonna take the time. And then you got to think they waited like what, 6 years before even
Hmm.
saying anything.
Yeah.
And then they're like, all right, we got this game kind of in the works. And it's like, oh, really? Let's see some concept art. And then they drop a whole trailer. And you're like, oh, you're a lot farther than we thought.
So with a game release like this, what's your like? How does that make you feel about Bethesda still taking so long to release another Elder Scrolls game?
I mean, all I'm really going to say is I really want an Elder Scrolls game. So, of course, I'm going to be like, no, drop it, drop it, drop it. But in all reality, I want that Elder Scrolls game to be so perfect like Skyrim was. I'd rather them take the time to just nail it the first try. Because, dude, I would be
How
so
heartbroken are
heartbroken.
you? Yeah, go ahead. You're about to say it.
Yeah, I would just be so heartbroken if, because Elder Scrolls holds a very like
Well, even
soft spot.
Oblivion,
Yeah,
what as early as it was released,
yeah,
before Skyrim came out, a lot of people regarded that to be such an amazing game. And so Skyrim was another home run hit.
yeah.
And
Well,
people
because
waited 10, 11 years for Skyrim.
11 years for Skyrim. And I mean, we're coming up on that mark, aren't we? Well, hell, what
Yeah, we're
year?
coming up on quite further than that. Skyrim Elder Scrolls came out in 2011. So, I mean, we're
Uh,
right there at 11.
yeah. So, I mean, we could probably expect one in the next year or two.
I hope. And to be honest, this is another conversation we've had, but I really want them to do a Wood Elf game. I know that seems kind of weird, but not okay. Sorry. I don't want them to do a Wood Elf game. I want them to do one that takes place in the Wood Elf region. I guess is
Yeah.
what I'm trying to say, because it's so beautiful. Skyrim was beautiful, but it was like really open and kind of not, I don't want to say bland, but whenever you play a game like Elder Scrolls Online and you see what the difference in those regions really looks like, you're like,
Yeah.
whoa, you know,
Yeah.
like Skyrim was beautiful. It was the big open mountainous ranges, snow-capped mountains.
Yeah.
It was cool. You had this rift where it was this swamp, thieves guildish city.
Yeah.
It had its own cities, but I think it'd be really dope to be really like woodsy and woodsy.
Have you seen the new trailer?
No, I haven't. Well, I think I have, and I've probably already forgotten because it's probably been a couple years since the trailer.
Well, it's been
I
like
think it's
6 months
year.
since it.
I was gonna say, I think it's been more like 6 months to a year, but I do remember a trailer coming out. But didn't they hint to being kind of like that woodland?
Yeah, so they've already announced where it's at, and for some reason I am drawing a blank.
Yeah.
It's the Elven realm though, and it's like it's pretty much the elves versus the Bretons. Oh, what's that area called though? You remember in Elder Scrolls Online when you side with the red team. Who the fuck? What's their name? It was the first one that we all joined together.
I don't even remember the regions on Elder Scrolls Online. It was
Hold on, I'm whipping out the.
there was yeah. Well, I went ahead and pulled up Elder Scrolls Online as well. You talking about the three regions that you could choose from?
Yes.
For some reason, it pulled up the Blackwood DLC.
uh,
So you had
High
the
Rock. High Rock.
God, why am I glowing white? Okay.
That's where the next one's taking place is High Rock. And it's like mountains, all woodland though. Elves are there, Bretons are there. Because remember, the Bretons and the elves and the orcs all got into like this giant fight for land, and Bretons ended up being the ones on top.
Yeah. Well, that's good. I just need to pay more attention because I definitely forgot about the video release trailer.
Yeah, I mean, it was like what, like 20 seconds, and it was just like of the landscape. That was it.
Well, that's just going to be one of those games that I'll get lost and immersed in. But speaking of those style of games, so I had mentioned to you, I think it was last episode that maybe it was, I don't know, it might have been a few episodes ago, but if you guys remember, I had mentioned I had never seen the Hobbit movies, and you told me, dude, there's no way you cannot watch not watch those. So
Yeah.
before we actually recorded this episode, I got an hour and a half into the final movie. And
Ooh.
so I'm super close to finishing it, the Battle of the Five Armies. And dude, what is so crazy is watching those movies now. You know what my first initial thought was?
What?
Whenever I first played Skyrim, and you asked me what race I was, and I told you I went with the orc race, and you were like, ew. You were like so disappointed in me. Watching The Hobbit now, I'm like, oh, that's why he was disappointed in me. and like that was honestly my first thought, because I remembered seeing like the orcs, obviously two different universes.
Yeah.
One's a video game series, the other's a book that was made into a movie, but that's like the image I had of like the orcs. I'm like, yeah,
Why'd they go like so high definition on the snot in those movies?
yeah, I don't know, but I've thoroughly enjoyed it to a point where it made me itch to play the Shadow of Mordor and Shadow of War game. And it made me really wish they would come out with like a third one.
Yeah.
And I know a lot of people have been asking for one, but for those of you that are familiar with the movies, the game, man, let me tell you, the thing that is so awesome if you were playing Shadow of Mordor is everything you wanted to happen, I felt like they did for Shadow of War. Shadow of War was like a game where you're still set in Mordor, and you're fighting your way through as Talion, who is fused with what is it, Celebrimbor? I always forget how to say his name.
You're on it, Celebrimbor.
Yeah, you're fused with him as one because of the ring you're wearing, I believe. And so as you're fighting through, you have abilities that are both wraith abilities and then just like human, like, fight, just regular fighting abilities. And you're fighting all these orcs. And one of the coolest things they do with Shadow of War is once you, and look, it is so easy to fantasize about what I'm about to say, because you're gonna go and you're gonna want to buy this game and you're gonna want it to happen immediately. But I must preface by saying what I'm about to tell you is the very end of the game before you get to enjoy it. So just know you got a little bit of grinding that has to be done. But I'm like literally 100% done with the storyline, and I'm doing this of what I'm saying. But you work towards this goal, and they have little like parts of this that you're going to be able to do, but you work towards this goal of eventually building your own army, and you can siege castles. Now, this is a stationary thing where you're going to go and you're going to activate the mission, and then the siege happens. This isn't going to be like you take your army, you march across the lands, and then you go and battle. Okay, it's not that crazy. It's not essentially Elder Scrolls Online, but it is going to be one in which you can kind of like, well, not kind of, you can fight different orcs. Now, if that orc kills you, that orc is going to gain a certain prestige, right? He's going to be able to become a war chief, or he's going to be able to come just a higher level orc. He's going to get like a cool, like new look, and he's basically going to brag about killing you. Now, the cool part about that is starting off, you're going to build up a lot of those kind of characters, a lot of these people that kill you if you're not careful. And so you're going to have the result of that be that you're going to have all these unique orcs that are in this army. So as you're going through, the better you get, you kill, you're going to eventually have the ability to I forget the word, but you're You know what I mean? Like the actual
The
ability,
mark.
yeah, of like putting the mark on somebody. I don't know. I can't think of the word, but anyways, you'll be able to recruit them. So dominate. That's the word.
Uh,
So I know it seems like a silly word, but yeah, dominate the other orcs. And what that means is it's basically where you like use your wraith ability to like control them, like mind control them, make them a part of your team. But it's super cool because they'll be like trying to kill you, you whoop their ass, and then you make them a part of your team, and then they're like, I serve the light lord now, and then they're like, then they go like stomping off, but they become like super cool. Well, you're gonna fight epics, you're gonna fight legendaries, and if you can whoop them and make them a party and like recruit them, some of them it's like a some of them it's a mind game, man, because you can't recruit at level 50. You're going to have to beat him, shame him, make him drop levels, go find, like, how fucked is this game? It makes you literally whoop a high ass level orc's ass multiple times, embarrassing him and sending him back into the world just to go find him again and whoop his ass again to be like, you're a part of my army now. And so, but it does pay off. You get some really, really good orcs, and you basically have a warlord, and then you have I think it's like 6. Yeah, you have 6 war chiefs. And so each of those war chiefs are going to have the ability to make your defenses better. Fire spouts, poison spouts, fire poison mines, Karagor riders, shielded orcs. They can have all this stuff, right? And then it'll help you defend. Also can help you attack. It's going to have those kind of orcs as well that'll be able to help. And the reason you want to have the best of the best is because certain ones that are epic, legendary, or just even like standard, the stronger they are, they'll have different abilities where this orc is a high level that can carry his own unique guard that stands with them. He'll fight to the death. He gets enraged by poison, Morgay flies, or whatever. So all this stuff, and you can do it online. I'm not doing that shit because I know some people, that's all they play. This game is that I'm talking about is 5 years old, so I'm sorry if I'm ranting on it too much, but it really is that good, and it's got a DLC. So I'm thinking about maybe going back and playing a little bit of the DLC. But there's a lot of unfinished stuff that I hadn't like completed in terms of the sieging, like defending and attacking. So I need to build up my armies, and I kind of want to beat all those sieges. But last night I stayed up till 2 a.m. because I got my ass whooped by a really strong orc. And then I went and he took over my castle. It was on a defense. And so then he took over my castle. I had to attack him. He whooped my ass again. And so then I had to go back again. And it wouldn't about to happen 3 times. I was on him. Like, he had these distance abilities that I didn't realize that were just like he was throwing poison darts, and then he had this like basically Mortal Kombat chain that he could grab me with and like, get over here. And so he was doing that to me, and he was knocking my health down. So the only way I could beat him was by literally just running up to him and just like constantly like stun hitting him until he would like drop. So, so yeah, it was a lot of fun going back to that game. All that deriving from me watching Lord of the Rings, but I'm going to finish the 3rd Hobbit movie and then move on to watching the original Lord of the Rings trilogy. That is one thing that my wife has never seen, and my wife, she's like into that stuff because she's not like super into like anime or super into like not like quote unquote nerdy stuff, but she got really into Star Wars with me. She loves all the movies, the shows, and it's perfect timing for it because if you guys don't already know, I can't remember what month, like September, we were talking about this.
Yeah.
Or something like that, more tail end of the year, but there's going to be a TV series coming out for Lord of the Rings. So that's the biggest reason I wanted to bring it up about my enjoyment and my excitement around this show, and then like going back and having the nostalgic gameplay of that game. But if you guys are not familiar, go check out Shadow of War. I would tell you to play Shadow of Mordor as well if you really want to get that storyline, because that's like how it starts. But Shadow of War had a lot of really cool, interesting, just things in the game. Okay,
Yeah.
but
Now,
it was really cool.
tell me this: after watching like Hobbit, and you already know what Lord of the Rings is about, do you have like a clear picture of who the ranger or the ranger?
Yeah.
Do you understand like who he is and like what purpose he serves? Like, did you kind of pick up on those?
From getting like the hints from like the Hobbit, what he is.
Yeah, exactly. Because he's in between the Hobbit and the Lord of the Rings.
I thought he was before.
Well, I mean, it's kind of a mixture of all, because if you pay attention, like the Ranger's stuck in Mordor in a time loop, if that makes sense. So it's like before, during, and after.
I know he's trying to kill the Dark Lord. That's who you fight.
Yeah.
But I know that a part of his thing is that Celebrimbor or whatever is the ring maker.
Yeah.
And so I think that I'm not entirely too sure if it's in between the two worlds. Maybe is he a part of the like aftermath that's trying to like weaken the like army?
I'll tell you this, and I'm not going to spoil it for you, but you'll see him in the movies.
I'll see Talion.
Mm-hmm.
He's in the movies. Should I've already seen him by now?
I don't know, dude.
Unless he's like he does kind of resemble
he's not the third king or what. Yeah.
He does look like him though, don't he?
He does. He really does. But because that's who I thought it was at first.
That's who I thought it was at first too. But I was like, man, but he's pretty short to be Italian. Well, the only other thing I can maybe think of,
Hobbit movies, literally called the Ranger.
Hobbit movies literally call him the Ranger.
Mm-hmm.
I'm really bad at picking up on like stuff.
I mean, it's like one quick thing, and it's like, oh, send the Ranger on it, or some. I don't exactly remember the line, but there's like a clear connection, because I remember just stumbling across on YouTube one time watching like lore
just tell
videos.
me, you're not gonna ruin it for me.
Well, no, I am. I just don't know like exact details. But so pretty much they just like mention him in the movies.
Mm.
And then I guess that would just be the start of Shadow Mordor games.
So that's probably what they like probably split off from me. I'm not really big on, not like good about the lore, because it's been a little bit, like I said, it's been 5 years since Shadow of War came out.
Yeah.
And even longer from I think it was like another 5 years from when Shadow of Mordor came out. So I know that there's probably a lot more lore stuff that I'm just not I'm not real good at remembering. Like I play so many games where you are so good at remembering the storyline. Like I couldn't even tell you the storyline for, and I'm being serious, I couldn't even tell you the storyline for Call of Duty. And I played the hell out of those games.
Yeah, which one right now? Quiz me.
yeah. Couldn't tell you Modern Warfare's. The only thing I remember about Black Ops was the numbers. So that's how I definitely remember that one.
Still don't even know what them fucking numbers mean.
Yeah. So that's my biggest like thing I hate is there's so many games, and I'm really bad about like rewatching stuff. I'm not big on rewatching stuff unless it's something I absolutely love and it's been long enough to where I'm kind of fuzzy on the memory of it, which is why it's easier for me to like go, or if I'm like really wanting somebody to get into it, like I could rewatch all the all the Star Wars again just because I love those movies, and I would want to see someone's reaction, like how much they love it.
Yeah.
But
I'll never forget my wife's reaction to at the end of Rogue One, like where you see the beginning of episode 4.
Yeah.
Where you like Darth, well, actually it's more gruesome than the 4th one really shows it. I still remember seeing Paige's reaction of Darth Vader just shoving a dude on the roof and then like cutting him in half. She's like, "Oh my god!"
The more I think about like Star Wars, the more I realize how bad the newest trilogy is, if I'm being honest. Like I
You
hear
think so?
I just think, look, I really love Star Wars, and I actually enjoyed the new trilogy movies, but like I was talking to this dude at work, and I've heard so many, obviously older generation talk bad on it, and I'm like, man, you guys are crazy. But like the more I think about it, they made Kylo Ren a bitch, dude. They really made Kylo Ren a bitch. They made him
Yeah.
like, no offense, but they made him just like this mommy's boy that was afraid to like fight, and he was more worried about, maybe he was conflicted and stuff, but you literally had Darth Vader that was a straight savage and did not give any fucks. And then they made like Kylo Ren
Like a
so like
crybaby kid.
so yeah, like a kid throwing a tantrum the whole time.
Well, what sucks is they took like what should have been like
Hold on.
4.
And sorry, and this man Luke Skywalker trained for so long, and this bitch Ray, they threw her on an island, and she had a quick crash course in like a week, and she was the strongest Jedi ever. And I'm like, what the fuck is going on here?
There's no way she's the strongest ever, dude. There's no way.
Yeah, well, I'm just saying, like, she was like super strong.
Yeah.
I mean, it was good, but I am probably as a huge Star Wars fan. I mean, look, I'm talking shit on it, and I literally have The Last Jedi right here.
Yeah.
But I mean, I enjoyed the movies. It was just, looking back on it, I was just kind of disappointed with how they made the villain in it.
Yeah. Well, like I was saying, they had a 3-movie deal when really they should have done like 4 or 5, real easy, dude. Because have
That's
you read like the comics on Kylo Ren?
I haven't.
Like that shit's like straight savage. And he has this group called the Knights of Ren that are just like, and you see him in the final movie for like 10 minutes altogether before they get just like crushed. But dude, those guys were like savages with the Force.
Well, and that's another thing, is that it's Disney, so they're not going to make it as gruesome, but
I don't know. I mean, they made Rogue One.
they did.
Dude's
You know what
got
the
cut in
best
half.
movie I thought was, or one of the best movies that came out, I thought was
Huh.
I thought it was Solo. I thought the Han
Really?
Solo movie was so good.
I actually did not like it until I saw Darth Maul. And I was like, all right, it's kind of cool.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, but that part was like sick though.
Yeah. Yeah, I just thought they did that movie pretty good. But anyways, man, we're coming up on our time marker, and I really want to find out more on the Witch Queen. You would that came out this week. That was another big release for February for this new year. Really, something that over the course of the last couple of months we had talked about really wanting to check out.
Yeah.
And you actually just beat it, right? Right before we talked about it, or maybe not the DLC, but you had beaten something.
I'd beaten like the main push of the story. I'm trying not to give out too much because it's still fresh.
Yeah.
But keep in mind, like, I did it with a fire team. We already know what we're doing and everything. I would say we beat the main story of Witch Queen. Best fucking Destiny DLC I've ever played, dude.
Really?
Yeah. Insane. Like, usually in Destiny, like the old DLC missions you'd run through, shoot them up for 20 minutes, and you'd be good on a mission. I played this one because I had the option to play on the higher difficulty, and we decided just to do that. We're like, oh, we're Destiny vets, we'll do it, whatever. Bro, every single mission took us like an hour and 30 minutes to beat.
Really?
Yeah, and we didn't die. That's the part, is like we didn't die too much. Like that was us, like checkpoint, beat it finally, and you're like, shit, that was a lot.
Yeah.
I think I ended like every mission easily with like 800 kills easily, and that's probably like 800 for each one of us. But man, That story's juicy.
Yeah, that little video you had me watch was
Hmm.
so it was a cinematic trailer, which you kind of have to go loosely on,
Yeah, for
but
sure.
it did add like a really cool, I guess, intrigue to the game for me, where I really like the way that they made the Witch Queen look,
Yeah,
and just the look of the like the swamp and all, and like the terrain that you're gonna probably have to travel through looks sick.
yeah.
So I was curious to see content from you and just kind of see what your story was going to be like. And now, is it something that you think you got quite a bit left just to get through the DLC part, or?
Oh, dude, 100%. I might have beaten the story, but I still have the exotic quest to do. I have like 3 side quest stories that I haven't even started.
Mm,
And not to mention, they still have a raid to drop. No one knows what the raid is yet.
dang. So
Which
that, yeah.
I think I have a good idea of what the raid is. I just I don't want to say it because I feel like it might give a little hint and spoil the end. But
Yeah, it's still fresh. I'm sure people want to check it out for themselves. But
yeah,
I mean, any big takeaways from it? Just you feel like you're impressed by?
so Destiny's always been one of those games that struggled with the story. Like there's a
Hmm.
lot of lore that you could read and know the story yourself, but the game always struggled with, hey, this is what the fuck's going on. You had to kind of know, and then they would subtle hints to it, right?
Hmm.
This DLC was very straightforward. It's like, hey, like this is going on. Like, I'm pretty sure it says it in the trailer, so I feel like we're safe to say it. It's like, hey, Savathun stole the light. Now your enemies have the power of the light, so they can be revived in an instance. We need to figure out how and why.
Yeah.
And fuck, dude, I don't honestly like. I'm gonna quote the game, and you people are listening to this, you're gonna hear me say this, and you're like, what the fuck does that even mean? And at the end of this, you're gonna be like, holy shit. But the light or the line between light and dark is so blurry. I'm
Hmm.
just I'm
I'm
just
just
gonna
gonna
leave the
mic.
quote at that.
You're gonna mic drop it there.
Yeah. But no, excellent. I mean, if anyone's kind of like sketched out, but you love Destiny, this DLC beats Taken King, hands down. And I'll sign that with my name on the check.
Well, you obviously know I don't know much about Destiny except for what you talk about, so I'm always intrigued to hear you discuss the raids and how
Yeah.
sweaty that stuff can get. But is
Well,
so I guess carrying over, it's still the same game, just DLC. So mechanics are gonna all be good, graphics are gonna kind of probably carry over the same, but any like cool new interesting enemies that you need to watch out for, or
oh yeah.
any new twist and turn they added to this that you might, any helpful tips, I guess, for people playing through this, especially for somebody like you that's playing on like a harder difficulty?
Well, so one thing I will say is they did improve on graphics, and the movement has been updated, and like cinematics, super seamless now. Uh, they changed all the void classes. So now how void works is you have to unlock stuff in void individually
Mm.
and then equipped it to your class. So since I play as a Titan, my main deal now, I had 3 to choose from. I went with Sentinel. So now like I put down Ward of Dawn, which I like take my shield and I throw it on the ground and it creates like this bubble shield that no one can penetrate. Super handy, but like the animations between it are so cool. And like now my finishers, I like grab the hive by their head and take my shield and just but yeah, no, and those there's not any new enemies, but the hive have light now, my guy. All right. They got the ability. So when you come up on a dude and he's like, usually with the hive, they're mindless. So you just run up, shoot them in the head, whatever, you move on. Bruh, hell no. Like these these guys, and when they said that they were tracking like PvP players and learning their movement for the hive, they were not joking. Like it is crazy now. Like you'll see them like come up with a game plan on the spot. Like you'll see a hive go like this, and the thralls will move around the sides to try and flank you while he's like coming right at you in the middle. And
Damn.
it's so hectic because not only is he like a higher level hive, but now the higher ranking have light. So you can kill him and turn around and fight the thrall. This happened to me on our first mission. We killed him, turn around, fighting the thrall like back to back. Hordes of thralls are just pouring in. No one paid attention. His ghost revived him, so he came back at full health.
Oh snap.
So we had to kill him again. And so I left the other two to kill the thrall. And then I had to run up and kill the ghost, which I still have conflicted feelings about, honestly, because the ghost is like what you roll with. You know, that's that little floating dude that talks. Well,
Oh
there's
yeah.
talk too. Like there's talk to you.
Oh really?
Yeah. And I just feel so bad because like you kill the hive and you run up, you're like, shit. And like all your teammates are like, kill the ghost, kill the ghost. Like even for the final bosses, you have to kill the ghost.
I was like, please no.
Yeah. And like you grab this poor little fucker and like you're like this and this eyeballs looking at you and you're just like and oh it's such
Freaking out.
it's such a sad feeling, dude, because like the ghosts are so innocent that they're just doing what they're told essentially.
Yeah.
But it's weird concept because now you have the light in your enemy, so it's kind of like what's going on here, because their ghosts are like, yo, why aren't you like us, and your ghost is like, no, fuck you, I've been here. So it's pretty cool, man. Definitely I would say a solid like 9 out of 10 for me. Play it.
Really? That's good. So is this something that you're going to be streaming?
Yeah.
Or
I didn't want to stream the story because people are very sensitive with the Destiny stories. And especially since this one's so good, I didn't even want to touch it, to be honest. But you can probably catch me streaming new dungeon, new raid, that stuff.
cool. Yeah.
Be prepared for a very long stream with the raid.
Yeah, I'll be looking forward to seeing those streams and at least, catching what that's going to be like. So,
Yeah,
anything
man.
else about it, or just be prepared? It's going to be a lot more difficult than other DLCs.
Yeah, and I mean you have the option. So if you're a new light or a kindergartenian, go for the easier difficulty. It's fine.
Yeah.
I just went with the legendary thinking I was hot shit, but Trent got a good taste of the frustration. He called me in the middle of the final boss fight.
Fuck, dude, do you have a revive? I was like, I messed up. I made a mistake. I'm sorry.
Well, because they changed it now. So in the harder difficulties before, it was just harder enemies and special abilities. That was it.
Sure.
Now in the harder difficulty, you only have like 15 seconds to revive your allies, and you only get one revive, and that's it.
Yeah,
so that's why I was asking him. Yeah, because we had the boss down to a quarter of health, and I'm like really trying to watch my mouth here. But down to a quarter of health, and I was like, do you have a revive? Because if I restart again, I'm gonna be so pissed.
Yeah.
But yeah, dude, no, play it. You're gonna love it. If you're into murder mysteries, it fits the chaos just like that.
Yeah. Well, good, man. That'll be something exciting to look forward to. You guys will have to go check that out because his recommendation is highly, highly recommended right now. If he's throwing out that 9 out of 10. But another question I wanted to ask you before we sign off from here. That new Uncharted movie, I thought was pretty good.
Dude, I thought it was solid.
Well, this is the part that I thought was so funny about critics is a lot of people were like, well, I just didn't feel that Mark Wahlberg felt like he was a good Sully. And they're like, I just didn't feel like it fit the game. I'm like, okay, well, in the game, Nathan Drake is literally in his like 30s or 40s. I'm like,
Yeah.
that's not Tom Holland. So I mean, I don't know what you mean by
Yeah.
Mark. I thought that both of them two together, it was good. And it was one of those things too where I'm like, God, the whole time I'm watching it, and I'm not gonna spoil it for anybody out there, don't worry. But the whole time I'm watching it, I'm like sitting there, I'm like, man, this just feels familiar. Like I've seen this movie before. And I'm like, oh yeah,
I
I
played the
played
whole game.
yeah, I played all the games.
Yeah. Well,
Especially the tail end of it, because I'm like, God, where have I seen that that image before?
tail end. I'm trying to think of the spot you're talking about.
Just like where they end up finding everything.
Oh yeah. Well, and that's what I kind of thought was weird about it, to be honest. Like honestly, I would love a second one, 100%.
It,
Like I would.
it looks like they're going to, but I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, most definitely. But to me, it was weird
Don't leave
because they
the
were,
theater too soon.
yeah, and that's after the movie ends, so stay there. But like, if you notice, they jumped. I feel like
Mm-hmm.
because that spot you're talking about was highly like related to the first one, and
Yeah.
then like it, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like, what's in the trailer? That way, it's like not spoiler. I don't want to say, you know what I mean? I don't want to play
Yeah.
with it too
Well,
much.
it did. Yeah, I know what you're saying. I felt like, well, they did jump between all three movies or all three
Yeah.
games for sure, which makes it like, well, okay, well, where are you going with?
Yeah. Well, it was weird, but at the same time, if you think about it, like the first Uncharted was not as eventful as say the third one.
Mm-hmm.
So no way in hell are they gonna make a starter movie off the uneventful one. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, for sure.
So I feel like it kind of
I thought
showed you.
the progression of the movie felt really good though.
Yeah, well, it was one of those movies where it was like the perfect allotted time.
Mm-hmm.
So all
Not enough to
what
like lose your interest, but just enough time to like the
character development and
yeah,
shit. Yeah. Well, yeah, dude. And I mean, I think Sully was played perfectly because,
yeah.
before they're hella cool and, hey, that's my dad that's unspoken. It's kind of like, they didn't trust each other at all.
Mm-hmm.
Sully is a thief through
Yeah.
and through. They probably don't get hella cool until the third one, really.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
But
which is yeah.
yeah, I loved how they brought like characters from the game in, like same name and everything. Shit had me dying laughing.
Yeah. Well, with us talking about how difficult it is to take a video game and make it a TV series or make it a movie, I thought they did a great job.
Yeah,
Like I would put it right up there. Not if I was not saying I'm gonna rank it, but I would say right up there with like The Witcher as a successful transition from video game to movie. Now or TV series rather. Not saying that like, oh, it's just as good as Witcher. I'm just saying that they did a good job like how Witcher did. So that's what makes me really wonder how this Borderlands movie is gonna be. But we'll
yeah.
see.
I mean, the Borderlands one's probably gonna probably. I was about
Still
to
a
say, I
little
hate to say
weird.
it, yeah, because it's more of a comedy. You know
Mm-hmm.
what I mean? So it's gonna be like I've already heard all these jokes before. Compared to something like Uncharted or the Last of Us show that's coming out, like they're more serious.
Yeah. Last
So
of Us
it's
show, that's another one I'm not real excited for. Like I'm
no
excited, but I'm not excited.
worried
Yeah,
about it.
that well, I mean, let's be honest. Me and you played Last of Us 1 and 2. They're both phenomenal games, but the
Mhm.
casting for the movies is definitely not fitting of what the people were.
I don't think
Yeah.
I've seen the list.
Um
Oh, this man.
yeah, I mean, look, I mean, we literally just made a a complaint about how people said that about this last movie. But so Ellie,
Mhm.
sorry guys, I mean my screen is so bright. Ellie is going to be Bella Ramsey, which is the girl from Game of Thrones. Remember the girl from Game of Thrones that was like the little girl that was basically queen?
Oh, the of Bear Island,
Yeah. Let me just do this.
like of the North, right?
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, Bear Island
Yeah.
chick.
And then Joel is Pedro Pascal, which is I don't know if you
Isn't
know.
that the pilot from Star Wars?
Yeah. Yep.
Okay.
From the man or he's actually no, he's the Mandalorian.
Oh, what?
Yeah, the dude that plays the Mandalorian or
Yeah.
whatever. Or that's in the
No.
Mandalorian.
Yeah, I'm
I
just
think
picturing his face and Joel's face.
I guess he played in Game of Thrones as well. He was also in Wonder Woman 1984. He's in Boba Fett. God, this dude has been in like all the movies. Wonder Woman, Prospect, The Unbearable, The Great Wall, We Can Be Heroes, Triple
I
Frontier,
I
The
think he
Equal.
was the Viper in Game of Thrones. Wasn't he the Viper?
Yes, yes, yes. So I mean, if I just don't feel like they fit, but maybe they'll be okay. It's just like I don't doubt Pedro Pascal's abilities as an actor because when you look at his repertoire, obviously he has a lot of good movies backing him.
Yeah.
But I just think if you actually play the game, they're different characters.
Yeah. No, you'd need like a
Even Bella Ramsey, maybe she can do it, but and be okay. I could maybe see her finding a way, but it just seems different to me
yeah.
to have her. But I don't know. We'll see. I don't want to hate on it too soon. It may end up turning out to be good. I just thought that it. I don't know. I don't want to get on any more of a rant,
Yeah.
but I guess if I was to say the reason I'm not as excited for it, anyways, is it's just a storyline that's been done a million times. I mean, so is Uncharted. I mean, Indiana Jones is essentially what Uncharted is, but it is still a good
Yeah.
movie. There's, so many movies like them,
Well,
but Uncharted just are we going to get another Walking Dead?
oh geez. Well, I'm a little confused why they're following Joel and Ellie because we know exactly how their story ends.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And who's gonna play Abby? Who's gonna play as Abby, bro? Hey,
Yeah.
who the fuck? Dude, although I loved Abby as a character, I hated her so much because of golf reasons.
I don't even think they're gonna have Allie and Abby in the movie or in the
Well,
show.
eventually they would, right? Or when is this show taking place? Because you're there for the first time Joel and Ellie meet,
They don't
and
even
then
have. They don't even have. They have Tommy, Tess, Sarah Miller, Marlene, Bill, Frank, and Perry.
so I bet you they're doing that time zone in between the first and second game then when they're like in the mountain town in Colorado with Tommy.
I guess that could be true.
They'll probably end the series with Joel dying.
Dang, bro, you're gonna just.
Yeah, what? Yeah,
You just
guys, it has been like a year.
Hmm.
If you haven't played the game, that's your own damn fault. But yeah, we'll see. I have high hopes for it. I just hope we get away from like, because you remember like late 90s, early 2000s, where like video games were cursed if they had a TV show or vice versa.
Yeah.
So, like,
Well, at
who
least they're
remembers the
done.
super? Yeah, yeah, they can't mess up the games, please.
Yeah. Yeah.
Please.
No, I agree, and we're kind of entering that weird world where we've also talked about the fact that Microsoft has bought big companies, Sony is buying big companies. So I don't know if that really is going to affect those worlds as well, but we'll see.
Another console war, man. Xbox had a chance just to chill and they didn't.
Yeah. But all right, man. Well, let's go ahead and sign off. Let's get out of here. Before we do that, I just want to say from us here at Dubkast, our thoughts and prayers obviously go out to all the people that we've been hearing about today. I heard about all the stuff going on with Russia and Ukraine, and I just want to take my time to definitely say my thoughts and prayers are with all those people, because that is a scary time, and it's a shame that some people take the time to make like memes about it, and whereas I just don't think it's a great time for comedy, man, because it's really sad. And as somebody that's become a father this year, it can be very scary. And hearing the screams, it's very sad. And we here at Dubcast definitely want to say, that our thoughts and prayers are with you. So, but not to end on a sad note. Sorry if I'm doing a little mood switch here, but we hope that you guys get a chance to check out Elden Ring. Let us know what you think. Let us know what you think about New Destiny 2. Reach out to us. We'd love to share your feedback. We have a big show coming up that I'm excited to announce. We got in contact with Seth, who some of you are familiar with. He has been on the show a couple of times, but I think I'm going to go ahead and bring his squad on. So be prepared. That may be the next episode. I'm going to try to get that in the works. So we're going to have his whole crew on. We're going to have 3 people that are currently streaming, one of which I played Apex with today, and we got a dub. Matter of fact, your boy is now Silver 1. So I am actually Silver 1 and halfway to Gold 4 now. Jeremy is now Gold 4. So I don't think we had, I think we maybe had one game that we didn't place in like the top 5 or top 10 at least. Nice. So it was a good day of gaming today. So I want to have those guys on. I've been talking to them and watching their Twitch feed, Twitch channels rather, and seeing a lot of good things. So I'd love to have them on and talk to them a little bit about their story. So you got that to look forward to for a future episode. But for all of us here at Dubcast, we appreciate you guys taking the time to listen and or watch. Remember, if you guys want to support us, smash that subscribe button. Hit that bell notification.
Get notified, son.
Yeah, get notified, son. Drop a comment. But you know the drill. We appreciate you, and it really does help us. Really helps us keep track of our supporters and continue to give you the content that you want to listen to. So that being said, appreciate you. Thank you. Don't forget, no matter where you are or what you're playing, we're going to get you one step closer to clutching that dub.
Hey, there
See you guys later. You guys have a good one. Enjoy your weekend.
Signing off.
Signing off.